So, hello everybody. Welcome to Keynote 5. I have the pleasure to introduce Chao to you. His international name is Ronnie Tian. Since 2010, Mr. Tian and his Asia Carbon Energy has been serving for China and global energy and technology company with advanced fossil fuel technologies, including gas turbines, CCUS, and 700-degree ultra-supercritical steam related business, R&D and demonstration intelligence, collaboration resources, and platform. Mr. Tian has a bachelor degree of mechanical engineering and got master degree at Loughborough University in 2006, and knows well about Chinese and Western business, culture, and environment. While China is suffering from electricity shortage in several provinces around 2010, Mr. Tian and his team founded Next Turbine program, aims at providing gas turbine intelligence, technology, and business collaboration resources, connecting China and global gas turbine community. It is a partnership with an European turbine network, McCoy Power Reports, and Gas Turbine World on serving the growing China market. Since 2012, the annual Next Turbine Summit has gathered over 2,600 gas turbine folks worldwide, or they became the first choice of marketing and knowledge-sharing platform in China for Siemens, MHPS, Shanghai Electric, Ansaldo Energia, MAN Energy Solution, PSM, Sulzer, Chromalloy, Emerson, Chemfield, etc.
Thank you.
Welcome to your keynote. Thanks.
Thank you, Aaron. Thank you very much for your kind invitation and also the introduction. So, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. And first of all, I'd like to thank very much for the organization to the invitation to join this very unique meeting. This is my second time in the 4 months to speak in Europe on the gas power in China. But I'm sure the slides are not the same. So at first, very brief introduction about this slide, and you say this building is the Temple of the Heaven in Beijing, and these skyscrapers are the buildings in Shanghai. So it means the ancient China and the modern China. Yeah. And my topic today is about the gas power in new normal era, and with a focus on the short to mid-term analysis. So why is this topic? And firstly, China has been in a new normal since the 12th five-year period. That means since the 2010, actually. And the development boundaries of many areas has been changing since that time. So secondly, I think it's very hard to predict the long-term trend of the gas power in China, but we can do some analysis to predict the short to the mid-term of the development in China. So when we talk about China's new normal, we would ask how the key features reflect on the gas power industry and our business eventually in China. Here are 4 factors we are looking at: the economy, policy, institution, and the technology. Well, I won't take the risk of talking about the technology in front of you professionals, so I will skip that part and focus on the other 3 factors. Each factor interacts with the others and has to fight against this path-dependence. And here I'd like to say more words about the path-dependence, which is a great theory to explain the transition and evolution. It explains how the set of decisions one faces for any given circumstance is limited by the decisions one has made in the past or by the events that one has experienced, even though past circumstances may no longer be relevant. So that's the very short theory about the path-dependence. Now, let's go back to the Chinese new normal, which has been widespread since the 2014. Our president used this term at the very important meetings, that's the APEC meeting, and to describe the need to adapt as the economy growth slowed down in China. Now, one thing needs to be mentioned is that President Xi's description on the new normal is only concerned about the economy rather than the politics. So what are the key characteristics about the new normal? And here, the first one is that the economy is slowing down from the high speed to a medium to high speed growth. The curve on the right very clearly show that the GDP growth rate has been declining since the 2010 from over 10% to around 6.5% as of the 2017. And of course, we are aware that a lot of people have doubt about these numbers. Well, it's better to look into carefully about the circumstance around us and the business we are in, and then we can have our own judgment. Secondly, and the second one is the economic structure upgrade from the high quality growth. And the third one is the development should be from the input and the investment driven to innovation driven. So you will see there are a lot of the cities in China, and they publish their very big plans on the innovation side, technology innovation, especially in Shanghai, Shenzhen, and Beijing as well. So now regarding the short term, regarding the short to mid term, and I'm talking about what's the time frame we are looking at. Now, as you may know, China has been making the plan for every 5 years since the 1953. Now we are in for this talk, we focus on the three period, the 12th, 13th, and the 14th 5-year plan period from the 2011 to 2025. And nowadays, we are in the 13th 5-year plan period, and the central government has made a series of policies and plans related to the gas turbine, as you may see here, on the energy in general, on the electric power, oil and gas, natural gas, renewable energy, energy technology innovation, and also the energy saving and cut emissions. And the most recent one is this one, the 3-year action plan to win the battle for the blue sky. That concerns about the air quality. And then each province and the municipal city has made the execution plan accordingly based on their own economy development and resources. And for example, the developed provinces on the coast may be much more able to grant subsidies for gas power and renewable energy, while the others couldn't follow. So among these policies, what are the government's priorities? The first one is the emission control. As this now this is the top concern of the government to improve the people's living quality. The real-time air quality index on 15th January, this map, it clearly showed that the air quality at that time in China, this is China, you see the air quality is very bad along the coastal cities and also the middle of China and also in the northern China. So the chart on the left side show that this is the current, the emission standard at the national level and also at the provincial level. Currently, the national standard for the NOx emission is 50 milligram per cubic meters. That's equivalent to 30 ppm. And there are also other three provincial level on the emissions. For Beijing, they're 30, and Tianjin and Shenzhen. Here, is a particular case about the Shenzhen. This is pretty low standard for the NOx emission because the Shenzhen has pushed they pushed very hard last year for this target, the 15 milligram per cubic meters. That is equivalent to about the 9 ppm. We are very, impressed by the Shenzhen government's determination to fight for the blue sky, but meanwhile, we are also concerned about the gas power operators' affordability to do this, to achieve this target, because that means a lot of investment on the retrofit, on the like the combustion system, or to do the SCR. So, because they are for the gas power operators in Guangdong and including the Shenzhen, they are in a very difficult situation, struggling for making profits. So how is gas power sector affected by the movement to the high quality growth? Let's look at two niche markets. The first one is about the gas power, the distributed energy. And although we are failed to meet the target by 2015 to build 1,000 gas-powered distributed energy projects, and the government set another target of having 40 gigawatt capacity by 2020. And according to the survey, there were 288 gas-powered distributed energy projects by 2015, as I mentioned yesterday, with the capacity of about 11.2 gigawatts. And among these projects, only 127 were on operation at that time. And the chart on the right hand shows that nearly 90% of the capacity are in industrial and eco parks, which normally have very big demand for the steam. The Yangtze River Delta region, here we go, is the top region of the developing gas-powered distributed energy projects, followed by Jing-Jin-Ji and Shandong, that's in the north. The Sichuan and Chongqing are also active in developing the gas-powered distributed energy projects, because this region is quite close to the onshore, the gas field in China. So that means they can have very favorable gas price compared with the other regions in China. And meanwhile, there is a very big movement, the shift of the industry from the east of China to the west of China. So that means these regions are very eager to develop their economy and also to achieve the high quality growth. Now, to fight against the past dependence, what's the reform going on in the gas power sector? The Drive-Deepen reform in electricity sector started in 2015 with the announcement of the very famous policy number 9 issued by the State Council, which opened the electricity retail market at that time. In 2016, the NEA, the National Energy Administration, released a guideline of opening electricity distribution market, which enables power generation companies to tap on the electricity distribution and make deal directly with the big end users. And then in 2018, the NDRC, the National Development and Reform Commission, and the NEA jointly released a guideline of market-based electricity trading in order to deregulate the gas electricity price. Well, this is said to have negative impact on gas power generation in face of the pretty high costs, because it's very hard for the gas power to compete with other power generation, like the coal and renewable. Guangdong province is one of the pilot markets for electricity reform, and by 2017, 20% of the electricity are traded in the regional market. And Guangdong is going to have its official operation and trading of this, the platform by the 1st of July this year. In oil and gas sector, the first reform plan for the country came in 2017, and also by the guideline issued by the State Council. After quite a long time waiting, the new draft rules of gas and oil and gas reform was released in August last year. It gives other companies access to the country's oil and gas infrastructure, including oil and gas pipelines, LNG terminals, and also the underground gas storage. Guangdong province, again, responded very quickly to these new draft rules, and even pushed harder by allowing the gas users to connect with the nearest pipeline directly. This means it would enable gas users to eliminate the cost of going through the city gas system. So that will drive the gas supply cost down significantly. Now, China is already the second largest gas turbine market in the globe in terms of the capacity. Well, what are these gas power capacities located? Let's take a look. The pie chart shows that nearly 90% of the gas power capacity are installed in Yangtze River, Pure River Delta, and the Jing-Jin-Ji region, including Beijing, Tianjin, and Hebei province in north. The top 3 gas power development provinces, Guangdong, Jiangsu, and Zhejiang, are among the top 5 GDP makers, while the number 4 GDP maker, Shandong province, only has 1 retrofitted gas power project so far. Its potential draws a lot of attention from the industry. Regarding the 13th five-year plan period for gas power, the national target is to have 110 gigawatt by the 2020, with about 50 gigawatt new build capacity. And at the provincial level, and here is 3 provinces, Guangdong, Jiangsu, and Zhejiang province plans to have 23 gigawatt, 20 gigawatt, and 12.5 gigawatt gas power capacity by the 2020, which accounts for about 70.2%, 15%, and 12% of its total power generation portfolio. Now, down to the gas power operators. So who are the major players in China? And is there any emerging forces? The blue bar, there we go, this one, and shows the central level SOEs, the power generation companies. China Huadian Group has been the leader all the time by 15 gigawatt capacity, including about 10 gigawatt in Jiangsu province. So that's why Huadian and Suzhou formed a joint venture and service in Jiangsu province. The previous biggest coal power player, China Huadian Group, is coming up with over 10 gigawatt capacity, while the state energy, this one is state energy, this is new formed the biggest power company in the world. It only has 2 gigawatt because it's heavily involved in the coal and coal power. The green bar shows the oil and gas company, the CNOOC, which is the 3rd largest gas power player in China, thanks to its LNG terminal and the gas assets in China and the globe. An interesting observation is that another oil and gas giant, PetroChina, is also tapping on gas power sector recently. It restructured the gas power plant at one of its oil fields in the northeast in 2018, and looks at opportunities through the gas distribution subsidiary, which is the Kunlun Energy, to tap on this market. The orange bar below shows the provincial and private power generators. Beijing Energy is an emerging force by 5 gigawatt gas power capacity, and obviously dominates Beijing market, and also runs assets in Guangdong and Jiangsu province by acquisition. It's followed by other provincial power generation companies in Zhejiang, Jiangsu, Guangdong, and Shanghai. Golden Concord at the bottom, the Golden Concord Group is the emerging private-owned forces actively involved in gas power and also the distributed energy with most assets in Jiangsu province, but also expanding to other provinces and regions in China. So as the gas power's dynamic is really affected by other power generations, so we need to look at the whole picture. And so when you say what's the power generation development trend since the 2010 and the beginning of the 12th five-year plan period. As you say, coal is still strong. It's still strong, although the strict control on the new capacity. The fossil power, including gas, reached 1,100 gigawatt by 2017, but with annual increasing rate declining from about 8.8% in 2010 to around 4.15% in 2017. The government target is keeping the total installed coal-fired capacity below 1,100 gigawatt by 2020. Wind power has been increasing dramatically since the 2010, reached 164 gigawatt by 2017, but with annual growth rate declining from about 35% in 2015 to around 10% in 2017. Solar power has been soaring since the 2014 and reached 130 gigawatt by 2017 and tripled the capacity by 2015. As I mentioned, China is already the second largest gas turbine market in terms of the capacity and reached about 88 gigawatt by 2017 with average annual growth, the annual growth rate of around the 16% since the 2010. This development trend both creates opportunities and pose challenges for gas power. The opportunities may be from the declining coal power share and also the need to balance grid due to the fluctuating renewable power. While thanks to the improving flexibility and emission and lower cost, coal still plays, also plays as peak shaving in some of the regions. And meanwhile, thanks to the lower cost and the sound environmental features, wind and solar power are given a priority to get subsidies and grid connections in China. We already talked about the slowing down economy and the economic structure upgrade for high quality growth. So what are their reflection on the power generation operation? As you see from this curve, and the operating hours of the installed capacity, the operating hours generally have been declining along the slowing down economy growth since the 2010. The average operating hours of all generation, the capacity has been declining gradually since the 2011 to around 3,700 hours in 2017. This curve, the fossil unit operating hours hit the historic low in 2016 since the 1964, and was under 4,500 hours since the 2015, and which is regarded as the red line of profitability for the coal power. In contradiction to the faster development, the wind power operating hours has been around just 2,000 hours per year, and the curtailment was still significant in 2017 with 12%. The government target is to reduce the curtailment rate to 5% by the 2020, which is very challenging, but may be achievable with the determination. Gas power operating hours was normally under 3,000 hours in most years since the 2010, but varied in different regions. The CHP plants in Beijing and a bunch of CHP plants in Jiangsu province can run over 7,000 hours per year, while units in Zhejiang province only have average level around 1,500 and suffered from equipment health problem due to very frequent start and stop. And so units in Guangdong province, which is close to Hong Kong, are also struggling in general to make the profits. If we look at the value chain, the whole value chain of the gas power, who are the most powerful forces? The picture shows that CNPC, also the China National Petroleum Corporation, and the state grid are very close on employees' numbers and annual revenue. However, in terms of the profit, if you say that in terms of profit, the state grid is 1.7 times than CNPC. If we look at the power generation side, China Huaneng Group, the previous #1 power generation company in China, its employees' number, revenue, profit only accounts for about 10%, 11%, and 1.1% of that of the state grid. So China Huaneng Group used to be the biggest one, the biggest power generator in China before China Guodian and the Senhua Group merged into the state energy in 2017, which is now the biggest power generation company in the world. This analysis shows that grid and oil and gas company, these giants, are more powerful than power generation companies to influence the regulator. So this point of view is just in line with current situation of gas power development in China, suffering from unfavorable gas and electricity price and operation dispatch. It's also reflected on the reform in electricity system and oil and gas sector. So look at the grid giant, the state grid. It still follows the past dependence on impact in the electricity reform. For example, the rules of real-time spot electricity market and ancillary service market very much reflected the grid company's interests. But look at the gas infrastructure side, we see where the oil and gas company supported the gas power development in China. And as of the 2017, the backbone gas pipeline and the storage capacity reached about 74,000 kilometers. And the gas storage capacity reached 11.7 billion cubic meters in the mainland of China. The gas pipeline will reach 110,000 kilometers and 163,000 kilometers by 2020 and 2025. After the gas shortage in the 2017 winter, the gas pipeline interconnection among different operators, the big three oil companies, have been improved across China for the better supply capacity. And by 2025, the gas storage capacity, including the LNG, will reach about 40 billion cubic meters. As of February 2018, there are 18 LNG reserving terminals were operation in mainland China, and with about close to 60 million tons per year capacity. And there are 8 more are being built during that time, and more are in the planning stage. Now, in face of the constraint from both upstream and downstream, so what are the power companies' movement? Firstly, they are actively moving upstreams to diversify the gas supply by acquiring gas assets, investing on LNG terminals domestically and globally. The China State Energy Investment, the biggest one, it signed an MOU in 2017 for about the $83.7 billion investment in the West Virginia projects in the United States. And China Huadian Group, the biggest gas power player in China, and formed the clean energy company to develop the shale gas and also the LNG business in 2014. And then it collaborated with the Sinopec, the oil company, on the Pacific Northwest LNG overseas. And Golden Concord, the largest private oil and gas power player, and it acquired the gas assets in Ethiopia in 2013, and also invest in the gas pipeline from Ethiopia to the Djibouti and LNG terminals in Djibouti with the target capacity of 10 million tons per year. The Golden Concord is also investing in the domestic LNG reserving terminals. And another one, the Chinese largest gas distributor, the ENN, which is also a private owned company, started the commercial operation of the first LNG reserving terminal in Zhejiang province last year. And this project has 3 million tons per year capacity for the first phase, and will reach the 5 million tons capacity with the completion of the second phase by 2022. So along with the reform in electricity system, these power companies also move into the electricity retail business and try to make the better deal directly with big end users. So that's the movement we need to pay attention. Now, let me try to summarize some of the key factors. The economic growth decreased from the high speed to a medium to high speed, and the economic structure is upgrading for the high quality growth. And there are some key regions to watch, including the first one, the Yangtze Economic Belt. This is the cities along the Yangtze River, from the downstream to the upstream, including several provinces and the municipal cities. The second one is Guangdong, Hong Kong, and Macau's Great Bay Area, which is has very dynamic economy and in the southern part of China. And the third one is the Bohai Ring Economic Circle. This is in the north, including the cities Tianjin and Shandong, Hebei, Liaoning provinces, and the Shanxi province. So these are three key regions we can, we may pay attention to their development and the opportunities in these markets. And in terms of the policy, look at the power, there are a lot of the policies that have been released in the past years, but one of them, as I mentioned, is about the clean air, which is regarding the clean air phase 2, the 3-year action plan to win the battle for blue sky. Because under this policy, and it may result in some changes in the gas power sector. The first one is raising the regional emission standard, as I mentioned earlier. And the second one is it may create the opportunities for an upgrade for aging gas turbine units in terms of the emission flexibility, part load efficiency, and health management. And even though China is very centralized, controlled by the government, and we also need to pay attention to the provincial level, the policies, and especially in the province along the coast, and also with the very big industry, the manufacturer capabilities in other regions. And regarding the institution factors, there are two things we need to pay attention. The first one is the deepen reform in the electricity system and also in the oil and gas reform. And we also need to pay attention to the major players, the companies' movement. How do they respond to the reform, and how do they make their strategy, for the future growth, including a great company, oil and gas company, energy company, and also the other smaller ones. So now, in my talk, I haven't touched on the technology side, but I think it's worth of listing two things regarding the technology. The first one is China is pursuing pursuing its own proprietary gas turbine technologies. As you see, the Dongfang, the manufacturer Dongfang, Shanghai, and also the Aviation Engine Corporation of China, they are all of them are involved in the gas turbine technology R&D, the program. And another one is at the national R&D level, which is the China United Heavy Duty Gas Turbine Corporation. And this company is looked at the national team to manage the whole gas turbine R&D program under the very big funding from the government. And the third one is on the third supply chain. There are several private companies making efforts on component sector, like the blades. And for the foreign companies, I think it's better to mention that localization is really important. I mean, it's not only on the sales side, but also down to the earth, from the sales to service and the technology partnership. I mean, China, is eager for the technology partnership with the foreign companies to help them, to localize their technology, to make it much cheaper, and then benefit the end users eventually. So now, let's go back to the path dependence. We should not undermine the power of the path dependence. This gentleman, Mr. Douglas North, used this theory to explain the economic performance through time and win the Nobel Prize in economics since in 1993. Here are his findings, the major findings highlighted. So in summary, in short term, the gas power market in China will continue the current trend, increasing steadily, but struggling to make profits. In midterm, we are quite optimistic, given more gas supply, especially through the LNG, and a deepened reform in electricity and the gas power, and the gas sector, and the institution, and also the decrease of the installation and the service cost coming, due to the more competition from more players domestically and internationally. So at the end, I'd like to raise a question to you, to the people. Would you review your past dependence of developing a business in China and adapt to the new normal? So that's a question. Thanks for your attention. Thanks very much, and very much welcome you to China. Thank you.